Hey guys, Jackson here with another review cap of The Last of Us. Episode 5 aired early because of the Super Bowl, and if you haven't watched it yet, then this is your spoiler warning. We start the episode 11 days prior to the events of episode 4, where the resistance movement, led by Kathleen, take back Kansas City from Fedra. The scenes are ugly as we witness Fedra soldiers being shown no mercy and executed in a very disturbing sequence of events. Kathleen's men have rounded up the majority of the informants that were conspiring against her in favour of Fedra, and eventually gets intel as to where Henry is, or who is possibly helping him to hide, with the promise that they will do time for their crimes but be allowed to live. Kathleen finds out that her family doctor from episode 4 was working against her and has likely helped Henry and his younger brother Sam hide in the city. Kathleen then goes back on her word and orders her men to kill all the informants, and we jump to Henry and Sam on the run in the city and looking for a place to hide. This is where we see them shack up in the cubbyhole from last episode, with the help of the doctor, and they stay there for 10 days until they run out of their rations. As they are about to leave their hideaway to try and escape the city, Henry witnesses the events of last episode unfold from his perspective as he watches Joel take out the men following the car crash. Henry then informs Sam of a new plan, and they follow Joel and Ellie into the high-rise tower building and wake Joel and Ellie up at gunpoint. Henry and Sam negotiate with Joel and Ellie to work together, as they are all wanted by Kathleen and need each other's help out of the city. Joel questions why he should help a collaborator, and Henry says that he knows the city, but needs Joel's fighting prowess as he's no fighter himself. Henry's plan is to use the underground tunnel system to bypass the manned perimeter of the city, and to come out on the other end, and make it for a bridge across the river. The only downside is there are rumours that the infected are locked underground as well. Henry was told by Fedra that this wasn't the case, and Joel agrees to the plan and the risks associated with it. As they work their way through the tunnel, we see it's surprisingly empty, and we come across a nice nod from the game and find the hidden classroom and society that Ish and Danny created, but is empty and seems abandoned. Joel, Ellie, Henry and Sam take some respite in the room, whilst Ellie and Sam bond over comic books and football. Henry and Joel have a chat, and we learn that Henry was a resistance member and believed in Kathleen's brother Michael and the movement, but his brother Sam became really ill with leukemia, and the only way he could save him was by getting treatment from Fedra, and became an informant for them and gave up Michael's whereabouts, resulting in his death. After some time passes, they continue through the tunnel with no trouble and reach the other side of the perimeter. All of a sudden they become pinned down as a sniper in a building at the end of the road opens fire on them. This sequence of events is from the game, and whilst Henry, Sam and Ellie are pinned down, Joel works his way around the side to the building and takes out the sniper. Joel hears a walkie-talkie go off, and we hear Kathleen informing the dead sniper that they are en route as we see a convoy of cars heading towards Henry, Sam and Ellie. As they begin to run towards Joel, Joel takes out one of the drivers of the battering ram truck with a well-placed shot, and the truck crashes into a building. Kathleen's men have Henry, Sam and Ellie cornered, and Henry gives himself up, trying to barter with Kathleen and ask that Sam and Ellie go free. Kathleen refuses, and as she is about to pull the trigger on Henry, the truck explodes and begins to sink into the ground. All of a sudden a horde of infected emerge from the sinkhole and overwhelm Kathleen's forces. Henry, Sam and Ellie try to run to Joel's building and avoid death, and we see the bloater make his long-awaited appearance. Kathleen's right-hand man Perry meets his demise to the bloater, and Kathleen succumbs to a clicker just as she is about to kill Ellie and the gang. As they reunite, we have an emotional moment where Joel asks Henry for them to join Ellie and himself on their journey to Wyoming, and Henry agrees and says yes. Sam and Ellie are in the bedroom and discuss what scares them the most, and we learn that Sam has been bitten from the sequence of events earlier. Ellie tries to cure him by cutting herself open and rubbing blood into his wound. In the morning, Ellie checks on Sam, and we find out that sadly her plan to cure him didn't work as he starts to turn and attacks Ellie. Ellie screams out for help, and Joel goes to try and stop Sam and is about to kill him as Henry stops him. Henry then takes the gun and sadly shoots his own brother, saving Ellie's life. In the shock with what Henry just did, he tragically decides to take his own life. Joel and Ellie bury Henry and Sam, and then the episode ends as they continue their journey on to Wyoming. Wowee, what an episode. Episode 6 delivered in all areas in what was the best episode to date, bringing emotion, action, stellar performances and further world building and nods from the game. Lamar Johnson, who played Henry, and Kevon Woodard, who played Sam, were both fantastic, and the chemistry between them, Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal made the emotional weight of the ending all the more impactful. The action sequence with the infected was terrifying, and despite already knowing what was going to happen from playing the game, I was on the edge of my seat watching Henry, Sam and Ellie trying to stay alive. It reminded me of Game of Thrones with the undead and the Night King, and the bloater definitely gave me Night King vibes, and I'm happy to say the bloater looked and behaved just as menacing as they do in the game, resulting in poor Perry dying a horrific death. Probably the biggest change from the game was making Sam deaf, but I felt it enhanced the story and bond between the characters, and there were some great Easter eggs for fans of the game throughout this episode, such as the drawing of Ish and Danny. I don't really have any gripes for this episode, and thought it was an excellent hour of television and the best episode to date. Final score, a well-deserved 10 out of 10. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about the episode. Do you agree with me, or do you think I've been a bit too generous with the score? And if you're new here, then consider subscribing to my channel for regular TV, film and gaming content, including live streams. We're currently on the road to 100 subs, and thank you to anyone that has already subscribed. And as always, I hope to see you next time.